Welcome to the Exceptional Leadership Podcast. I'm your host, Anita Brooks, and here you'll find teaching topics, interviews, conversations, and coaching tips, all designed to help you level up. We all lead someone. The question is, are we leading well, exceptionally well? So join me on a quest, not for perfection, but absolutely for exceptional leadership. Welcome back. Well, today's episode is going to be a little bit different. Now, no worries. I am definitely going to provide you value in the content, so stay tuned. But first, I need to talk to you very briefly about some changes that are happening with P4 Power Coaching and the P4 Personality Perspective and my team. So first off, I am so excited to announce that I've added 2 new team members to P4 Power Coaching. And let me tell you, we are working on developing some very cool things. But it takes time. It takes energy. It takes money. But to do this and to be very intentional in doing it exceptionally well, I've had to make a difficult decision. I'm going to push pause on the Exceptional Leadership Podcast for a bit. Now, I can't even tell you exactly how long it's going to be. So if you have not subscribed to the Exceptional Leadership Podcast, I urge you to do that so that when we pick back up, then you'll just start getting notifications as far as the new episodes are concerned, and you won't forget about us, because I can assure you there is more amazing content coming down the road. We're going to do more interviews. We're going to dig even deeper into those areas that can help all of us not only become, but sustain ourselves as exceptional leaders. I am committed to this. I'm committed to living this in my own life. I'm committing to influencing those around me, and I'm committed to teaching it to folks like you who have that same heart and passion. So again, if you will just go, you can go to wherever the platform that you're listening to this podcast from, and you can subscribe. And also, while you're at it, if you wouldn't mind to leave us a review, you have no idea how helpful that is. The more reviews a podcast gets, the more that other people tend to tune in and check it out for themselves. And look, I'm not getting any compensation for this. At this stage anyway, I don't have any paid sponsors. I'm doing this all on my own. The money that's spent is mine. I'm simply investing it because I care. I care about you being able to do a better job in the place that you are positioned for such a time as this. I believe that you were created on purpose, with purpose, in order to fulfill an abundant purpose as an exceptional leader. And so I'm investing in you. So if you wouldn't mind just doing me that little helpful thing and giving a review and subscribing, that'd be amazing. Okay, enough about that. So again, just going to take a pause, but remember this too. Prior to now, we have, I can't remember if it's 73 or 74 episodes that are already out there in the tank that you can go back and listen to and re-listen to. And let me tell you something. I know I go deep sometimes. So I've had people tell me that they listen to singular episodes repeatedly over and over and over again. I've had people tell me they listen to it, sit down and take notes of those episodes. So maybe this is a good time for you to reflect and go back and re-listen so that you can really make sure you get the fullness of what I'm trying to share with you. Because again, I'm doing this because I care. So I want you to get the most out of it. Okay. So enough said about that. Let's dig in to what I want to do for you today. So because I'm going to take an intentional pause, I thought, you know what? I want to leave you during this little season, this little period, with some tips, some simple steps for you to exercise exceptional leadership while I do pause. Some things that if you've listened to me, you may have heard before, but as I always challenge in my business coaching scopes and here on this podcast, it's not what you know, but it's what you do with what you know. So my challenge to you would be to ask you, even if you've heard this before, don't tune this out, but really challenge yourself and say, what am I doing with what I know? Am I implementing this to the best of my ability? Because if you're not, this is a great time to reframe and refocus. So let's dig into 7 simple steps to exceptional leadership while I pause. Okay. Number 1 is resolve to make a minimum of 1% improvement each day. Why? Why only 1%? Well, 1, it's easy enough for us to focus on, not get overwhelmed, not tell ourselves, oh, I can never do that. I've got so many other things on my plate. My to-do list is so long. No, if it's only 1%, most of us, our brains will quickly kick in and say, hey, that's doable. But the thing is, if every day of your life you're resolving to make a 1% improvement, well, on day 2, you've now made 2% improvement. Day 7, 7% improvement, and on and on. You see what I'm saying? If you were to continue with that practice each and every day, you're going to get stronger and better, more efficient, more productive, and you are going to increase the influence that you have as an exceptional leader in a much deeper and profound way. So, number 1, resolve to make that 1% improvement daily. 2, mind your mental mouth. Now, if you have been around me at all or listened to me much at all, then you've probably heard this term come from me. But what I mean by minding your mental mouth is this. Don't let your self-talk focus on doomsday thinking, chronic complaining, constant criticism, or lack of gratitude. Take those thoughts captive and turn them upside down. So if you catch yourself, and look, we're all human, so sometimes we all catch ourselves doing something and we think, oh, I know better. But instead of just wasting time beating yourself up, berating yourself, just simply turn it upside down. So if you've been thinking doomsday thinking, you know what? Turn that into some kind of a positive affirmation. If you're thinking, oh, I'll never, stop yourself in your tracks and say, I am going to, and you finish that sentence with whatever it is you want to be or do. If you catch yourself chronically complaining, then turn that around and start making it chronic gratitude, where when you catch yourself complaining about something, stop, reflect, and ask yourself, but what in that situation or with that person can I be grateful for? And focus on that instead. Constant criticism. And this comes in 2 forms. There's the criticism that we expend on ourselves, and there's the criticism that we project onto others. In both cases, stop the criticism and again, focus on the gratitude. Focus on the encouragement. You know, what is it about yourself that you need to encourage? What is it in others you need to encourage? Focus on celebration instead of criticism. What is it you can celebrate about yourself? What is it you can celebrate in others? But again, turning that upside down. And if you lack gratitude, then start becoming extremely intentional. I am telling you right now, this is one of the superpowers of exceptional leaders. And if you go back in former podcasts, and I apologize, I didn't note this, but in one of the episodes, I've talked about the 7 superpowers. It was one of the very early episodes, but I talked about the superpowers of exceptional leaders. And Expressing gratitude, demonstrating genuine gratitude to other people is a superpower, and it will take you a long way. Something else that you might consider too is listening to episode 66. And on that one, it was daily tips for strengthening your mental fortitude. But be intentional. Don't let your self-talk drive you. You drive your self-talk. And while I'm paused, that's going to help you continue to reinforce and to become an even better exceptional leader. Okay, number 3. Concentrate on plugging the invisible drains that are stealing your money, time, and energy. The invisible drains that are stealing the money, time, and energy from your organization, as well as the other people there. And remember, an invisible drain is not necessarily something you can't see. Maybe it's something that you're unwilling to consciously see. Maybe it's something you avoid or you ignore. Or maybe it is something that's just newly become apparent to you. Or maybe you need to go on the hunt to identify and discover what are the invisible drains, the true origins and sources that are stealing your money, time, and energy. Whatever they are, really focus on plugging them. And I can tell you that in my now years of business coaching and continuing to work with clients on a regular basis, there are 7 core invisible drains that I've identified that I don't care what industry you're in, because look, I work with manufacturing. I work with healthcare. I work with banking and finance. I work with the recreation industry. I've worked with heating and air conditioning, HVAC. I've worked with restaurants. I mean, there's not very many industries now that I've not been called and asked to come in to help to work with the people, the processes, to help increase, improve, and sustain the performance and the profitability. In my work in that, I've identified these 7 core invisible drains. And I can tell you that every industry, every business, there are issues in these areas. I'm not going to delve deeply into it in this because I've talked about this on other episodes. So if you want to go back to episodes 6 and 7 and 47, I talk about invisible drains in those episodes. And I highly encourage you to go back and listen to them, because if you are feeling frustrated as a leader, if your people and processes and performance and profitability are not where you want them to be, then I urge you to go back and listen to those episodes and listen closely, because I can assure you, you probably have some invisible drains that need to be plugged. Okay, number 4. Consider the intrinsic needs, important values, and inner expectations of your personality. I mean, really start paying attention to that. While equally be mindful of the intrinsic needs, important values, and inner expectations of people with different personalities from yours. There's a reason the P4 personality perspective is the foundation and the basis for pretty much everything I do in my business coaching. It's the thing I am asked to speak on as a public speaker. I can't tell you how many hundreds of keynotes I've done for business conferences, business retreats, associational conferences, strategic retreats. Over and over and over again, I'm asked to share things that I have spent decades on educating myself on applying and practicing and observing. And let me just tell you, it is transformative. It can be transformative for you as an individual, at home and at work, by the way. It is transformative in your role as a leader, and it can be transformative in your organization. It can more quickly help you improve things with the people, processes, performance, and profitability. So if you want to know more details about the P4 personality perspective, then go back and listen to episodes 69 through 73. I've really spent a lot of time digging deep into individual personality types, talking about conflict resolution between personalities, just some of the basic common denominators, patterns, so many things. But if you are working with people, which if you're a leader, you are, let me tell you something. I've spent so much energy trying to come up with the simplest personality program that I could possibly create, just so it can make it easier for leaders and people on the front line to work better together with less issue, less distraction, less conflict, so that profits are better, performance is better, yes, but also it makes working together more pleasant, more peaceful, more enjoyable. Because I'll tell you what, there is nothing worse than dreading going into your workday. So if you've not listened to what I've shared on the P4 personality perspective, I urge you to go there. Also, if you and your crew have not taken my free P4 personality perspective assessment, takes on average about 7 to 10 minutes. But go to my website, anitabrooks.com, ANITABROOKS.com, and it's free. You're going to find it right there. I also have a free downloadable that has a grid that shows some basic personality types that you can just print out. But I do that again to help provide resources and support for you in your leadership role. Okay, number 5. So while I'm on pause, I want to urge you to not just think, dream, and talk about your visions and goals. Put a date stamp for completion on them. Develop a plan with sub-targets that will lead you to where your ultimate finish line is. Then start working that plan until you achieve what you want. Execute on SMART goals. In episode 55, I talk about SMART goals and I explain what they are. But if you think that you're creating goals and you don't have a date stamp on it, they're not measurable, they're not achievable, but they don't still stretch you, then your goals are lacking. And there's a reason that you are not accomplishing everything that you want. So listen to episode 55 on SMART goals. If you've heard it before, go back and re-listen to it. But while I'm gone, I want you to focus on execution. See, when I talked about the 7 core invisible drains a few minutes ago, number 7, and I have them in a very specific sequence for a reason, but number 7 is execution. I find so many times that we will think about something, we'll talk about it, but we won't do it. And we need to be doers if we're going to be exceptional leaders. Number 6, ask yourself daily, are the activities filling 80% of my time productive and profitable? And let's talk about what profitable means for just a moment. I'm not just talking about financially profitable, although yes, that's one aspect of it. And there's nothing in the world wrong with that goal. But sometimes we need to reflect on whether something is mentally profitable for us, emotionally profitable for us, spiritually profitable for us, relationally profitable for us. You know, our professional relationships matter too. So are the activities that are filling 80% of your time productive and profitable in all of those ways? If not, change your days. Put your most crucial, profitable items as priorities. Make them first. Act on them first. Do them first and stick to it. And every day, make this immeasurable for you. This should be one of those ways that you are determining whether or not you're focusing on exceptional leadership practices. And make sure that when you do this, that it's the 80% of things that are most productive and profitable for you, not that you're doing something that is something someone else should be doing that should be their 80%. Okay. So really make sure that you're taking on the things that you should be doing in your leadership role, the most profitable, most productive, top 80% of your time. Okay. And number 7, I can't stress this enough. Give yourself permission to take regular Sabbath rests. Sabbath rests from work, from electronic devices, from anything that keeps you from truly noticing and enjoying time spent with people you love, doing what refills your cup. We all need mental breaks and emotional escapes. I told you at the beginning of this episode that I am hitting pause because I need to focus on some very detailed, transformational, amazing resources and content and new ways of delivering to you. So platforms, some things that can really make a difference in your life professionally and personally. But before I'm able to dig into that, I knew I needed to refill my own cup. So this past week, you know what I was doing? I was practicing what I teach. I took some extra days off with my hubby. My birthday's coming up, so I kind of use that as a celebration excuse. Although I didn't really need an excuse, I can just give myself permission. That's what I do as an exceptional leader. But we took a few extra days off, and it was pre-celebration for my birthday because I'm not going to get to be with him on my birthday this year. But we just spent time with friends. We did things that we loved. I live here in Missouri. We were at Lake of the Ozarks, so we go there many weekends out of the year. And we just had a fantastic time. And I feel refreshed. I feel rejuvenated. My creativity is higher. My brain is clearer because I gave myself that time. Do that for you. Your idea of cup refilling may not be the same as mine. I did a mix of social interactions and just quiet time in solitude, just breathing. But I wasn't checking my phone all the time. I wasn't working. I wasn't on my computer. I set those things aside. I even turned off notifications multiple times. I spent an entire day that I wasn't on electronics at all. This is a practice that I try to keep incorporated in my life. Many people ask me how I get so much done. Let me tell you, it's because of intentionality. My day starts every day with my spiritual filling up, if you will, refilling my cup. So I am a Christian. I read my Bible. If that's, not something that is palpable to you or important to you, I'm sorry, because frankly, I feel like I'd be missing out if I wasn't doing that. But find something spiritually that feeds your soul, that fuels your soul, and start your day that way. That's what I do on a regular basis. So I continued that practice, obviously, through the weekend. But some other things that I do is I read really good books, the kind that sharpen my mind, that challenge me, that make me think differently, things that remind me of things that I may have forgotten, but I'm constantly reading books that give me either new knowledge or reinforce good knowledge, and things that allow me to have information that I can reinvest in other people. So that's something else that I do for myself. Another thing that refills my cup is I am intentional about, keeping my body as physically fit as possible. That's not always easy for me with my schedule and the demands for my time and my expertise, but it's something that I am committed to, so I follow through on it. As a matter of fact, I just finished another round of 75 Hard Challenge. If you aren't familiar with 75 Hard, do a search for River Ranch Resort. So in one of the 2 episodes where I was talking to Dustin Sherback, the owner of River Ranch Resort, and someone who's a client of mine, we talked about the 75 hard challenge, and I will tell you that it's not for everybody, but for me, I love it. So 75 hard is you have these elements, these disciplines that you check off every day. Well, I love it because that checkoff system really helps me to keep my discipline and follow through on it. So I just finished 75 hard, but I gave myself a couple of days off and I'm on day 8 of a new round. So I'm going right into another because, frankly, I have a lot to do to get myself to the stage of fitness that I really want to be. And I know I can be, and I believe I should be in. So I don't allow myself to make excuses. I do give myself grace at times. I'm not rigid. I am a person who believes that to maintain good fitness, you've got to feel like you get to have a life. So it's not all just about that rigidity, but it's also about being gracious with yourself without not making excuses. So physical fitness is something that's very important to me. But, think about during this time while I'm pausing the Exceptional Leadership podcast, what is it for you that's going to refill your cup? I know for me that I like to take long walks and I like to, while I'm walking, really pay attention to nature. I like to listen to the birds sing and notice that. I like to see the breeze flickering across the leaves of the trees. I like to look at the different shades of greens and yellows and blue in the sky and the white clouds and things like that, the different flowers that I see as I'm walking. I like to focus on the scent in the air. I really focus on those 5 senses. And sometimes I'll even touch a leaf or a flower and just feel the texture of that. But what is it for you that's going to make you feel alive? Because see, that's the thing. Exceptional leadership is important. And by the way, if you go back to episode 8, I gave leadership self-care hacks, and then episode 36, where I talked with fitness expert Scarlett Barron, which was an amazing conversation. There's some really, really good information there about refilling your cup. But here's the thing. Exceptional leadership is a passion point for me. It's something that probably until the day I die, I am going to see it as being something very important to me. And it's something that I want to share with other people, the things that I've learned throughout the years. But I want it to be a part of my life in such a way that I feel alive. I don't want to burn myself out. I don't want to feel like I'm stuck in a rut. I don't feel like I'm the walking dead. I want to feel like I have a life. So in essence, all 7 of these simple steps help to reinforce that for me. Exceptional leadership is a very important part of my business life. I'm a business coach after all. But exceptional leadership touches every interaction I have with every person that I influence. And if I don't feel alive inside, then anything that I might try to share is going to come across as dead. And you know what? Then it's useless. It's not doing anyone any good, including me. So, exceptional leader, I encourage you, while I'm gone, to incorporate these 7 simple steps. Resolve to make a minimum of 1% improvement each day. Mind your mental mouth. Don't let your self-talk run rampant. Concentrate on plugging your invisible drains. Consider the intrinsic needs, important values, and inner expectations for your personality and the personalities of others. Don't just think, dream, and talk about your visions and goals, but be an executor on SMART goals. Make sure that every day you're spending 80% of your time on what is productive and profitable for you. And give yourself permission to take regular Sabbath rests from work and really enjoy the people and the things that you love so that you feel like you're living a full life. then you'll have more to share. You'll be more creative. And you know what? You'll even solve problems faster. Well, I hope that you have enjoyed today's episode. I'm going to miss you while I'm gone, but I'm going to be busy doing amazing things for you that I'll share with you later. And if you miss me, then like I said, you can go back and listen to other episodes. You can listen to some of them repeatedly. You can do what some people do and take those notes. But however you do it, I just encourage you, don't lose sight during this time of the importance of intentionality in being an exceptional leader. Remember what I always tell you, stay intentional, be exceptional. And by the way, if you don't mind, subscribe and give me that review. Until next time, whenever that's going to be a great leader. Thank you for joining me for another episode of the Exceptional Leadership Podcast. There's magic in meeting with an objective, and I always have an objective for you, not only in these episodes, but also from the other resources I offer on my website, anitabrooks.com. That's ANITABROOKS.com. There you'll find information on digital courses, webinars, books, workbooks, of course, my in-person P4 power coaching for businesses and organizations. And if you need a speaker for your conference or your strategic retreat, I'm your gal. But I'm also excited to let you know about a new service that we're offering. For less than half the price of a daily Starbucks latte for a month, you can join our P4 Power Coaching community. This is a monthly membership where you'll get insider tips. And you'll also be able to join our monthly Zoom meetings that are one part strategy sessions, one part mastermind, one part networking, one part coaching. I can promise you, you'll not only learn from me, but you'll learn from others in the group. We'll also have monthly webinars as part of the P4 Power Coaching community, and we'll have coaching resources and exercises. And you'll get first opportunities and special offers for many of the other things that we have to offer. And of course, you will get leadership encouragements. The P4 Power Coaching community is all about growth, success, and celebrating our wins. And remember, it's never too late for a fresh start with fresh faith. So embrace your exceptional leadership impact with fresh resolve to make the difference you were made for.